Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Papa's Workshops. These are for Adam, Brady, Luke, and Brenna. But before we get started, we got to check in with my assistant. There she is. Again, you might think she's asleep, but she's just guarding with her eyes closed. You ready for a treat? She's 12, so she's moving a little slower than she used to. But she's still one of the best assistants. You ready to get work, girl? All right. I got good news. We got the hinges, and the Newport secretary is completed. It's been a long road. I started researching and making the drawings in August of 2022. The first video in this series, this is the 24th episode, was in September of last year. So that's when I started making sawdust. So it's been a long road. This has definitely been the biggest physically and the most difficult project I have ever worked on. It's been a real challenge. It's been a lot of fun, but I don't think I want to head and do another project that's going to take a year right off the bat. I have to think about what we're going to do next. So we got some videos of, while I was waiting for the hinges, we got the finish on to the lower case and the bonnet top. So we got some video of that. And then, of course, putting the hinges on the doors and the upper case, getting that all aligned and putting the latch hardware in for that. So we got that. Couple of short videos, and then we'll do some just slideshow pictures of the complete case, the Newport secretary. Woohoo! All right, I've been working on the finish in the mornings here, trying to get the lower case all finished. And I got this done. I just put a coat of brown wax on there. So this is ready. And the next couple days I'll get the rest of it to this point. So there is the aniline dye that was on there I showed earlier. And then a bunch of coats of shellac, I don't know, 4 or 5 coats. And then start working on sanding it, rubbing out the finish so that it's all smooth. And add other coats as needed of shellac, and then I finish up with brown wax. It's wax, dark brown. That gives it more of an aged look, and the wax gets down in the corners, gives it more of an aged look. So there we have it. That's what it's going to look like finish-wise. But now I got to work on the upper part a little bit. Well, we've been waiting for the hinges. I've got the lower case and the bonnet top finished, as you can see. And I've invented a new piece of furniture called the high top desk. Here's a quick look of what it looks like inside. Once we get the upper case done, we'll do a better video of it, but just a quick glance inside. Got our well, the drawers. Came out pretty nice, but I do think if you're sitting here, that well is a little too far back to do you much good. So, but I think it looks cool. But that certainly explains why there's not a lot of them with the well. Let's take a close look at the bonnet top. This top is going to be 8.5 feet tall, so we're looking at this being 7 foot-ish to the bottom of it. So we'll do a close-up of those things right now, and then we'll do the rest of it once we get the upper case done. All right, here's one of the finials, and I had this whole thing come out. so that when you're transporting it, there's no risk of it being damaged. I think they came out pretty well. So here's a close-up of the circles, and of course the gooseneck. And I think that all came out pretty nice. I'm pleased. This is the second time I've done this, or something like this anyway. And this came out much better. The whole thing came out much better. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And here's a look at the matched set here. Get a good look at that. This is a book match set. I split that down the middle, and the rays, depending on where you are, the rays are stronger or less strong. See, as you move over, those look better. If you move over, it just changes. That's kind of the characteristic of the curly cherry. So here's the upper finial, and it has a little bit different. I have it just coming out here, but it has 2 rows of petals. I got some more wax to take off of that. The darkness is the brown wax, so it's just a matter of rubbing off. It kind of leaves it in the crevices and makes it look older. So I got work to do on that. So that's about it. And we got how the skin that went on, that came out pretty nice. So once we get the hinges, we finish that upper case, we'll be somebody. All right, we finally got the hinges. As I stated before, we had some manufacturing problems, but that's all resolved. So here we are. So we got the L part goes on the door and the other side of the case, obviously. So I've started one. I gotta figure out this process here, because we need to get the barrel, the center line of the barrel, right in line with the edge of the case. You see there's a little bit of a gap there, but I don't quite have that hinge closed up. I've only got 1 screw in the L part. So I get that other screw in, it'll tighten that up, but I need to get the other end done. So it's kind of a little bit of futzing to get the depth right. And I did put a gap in the, I put a little rabbit on this door. I was wanting it to miss the case. So the hinge is a little proud, but it is a little bit down. So I probably just should have made that shallower or not done it at all. But while I had it set up on the router table, I did it. So it can't be undone. So, I got to work on getting that. And then once we get the 2 outside doors in, we need to get them lined up with the center. It may need a pass or 2 on the hand planes to get it even. And then we'll need to put the latches in the middle. I've got the lock installed on the center door, but we need to get it's going to be hinged to this door, the left-hand door. So we'll need to get that all worked out with coming in and get the latches, and that's going to be all sorts of fun. Woohoo! So here's a view of the door opened. See, we got just a little bit of clearance. I could have had another maybe 1/8 inch lower on the, but what we didn't want it was to be hitting the other end of the molding, at least that end. But if it was hitting the other end, it would really be rough. So anyway, so that's why the hinge had to be elevated. So there's one door put in with the hinges. So now we're gonna do the other one. All right, we got the doors mounted. They're a little tight, There's a little, I got to take some off of this and get it, but otherwise, and then these two doors by themselves don't want to stay. I think it's tight. One of these two places here, I'll have to check on the rabbit. But all in all, it's pretty good. There's not much sag to speak of. That's one thing I was worried about, because I did this with it laying down. This is the first time I've had it standing up. I was afraid the doors were going to sag a little bit, so I put all the hinges, any slop in that thing I put up, so it all worked out pretty good. So this is what it looks like when it's open. I got this blue tape on there to help from not scratching it when I had it on the bench doing the mortises, and I haven't put the shells on yet for that same reason. I needed the shells stick out farther than this blocking, so I didn't want to risk damaging those. When we're all done with the doors, we'll dye it the same as the case and then glue the shells on there. So the next step is putting the latches in. This main latch is going to be mortised in here, and there's the mortise for the lock, and so this will be sticking like that. The plunger goes this way, and it will go into this, and that'll hold these two doors down solid. And that would probably be enough, since that door is pinned that way, and the hinges won't let it go back out. But there is a second latch that's going to go there, and a pin on this door that when you close it goes into that second latch, and then the lip on this door will hold that one down. So, and I think that part of that on the original, I don't know. I went to put the hinges in for just the standard butt hinges in, and this outside door right in this part is only 9/16 thick, and the hinges were more like 3/4. I think a little bit more like 13/16 counting the barrel, and so they stuck out and hit this. So I couldn't. That was my original intention, was to put them that way, but it didn't work. So I went ahead and did it this way. Then that keeps it actually from this door going this way at all. And I don't know what the original was. I went back and looked at the pictures, and it's either closed, open like this, or it's closed. So I don't really know. That's one of those things, if you'd had access to it, the original, you would know those details. One of the problems of working from the pictures is there's some things I don't know. So we're going to trim the doors and position these latches, and then we should be there. All right, we got this all done. So it's locked, so we unlock it, and everything comes out. And we got the latches in. This is a close-up of the latch installation, and then this one, and of course the pin sticking out. So we are ready to put on the finish. I got to clean up some of the scratches and stuff that I put on there while I was working on this. So this door's got to close first, and then we get the shells, of course, got to go on there. So, well, it's looking like something. So I got to clean the doors up and dye those red, and then we'll start spraying shellac. So we are just about there. All right, we got those preliminaries out of the way. Now for the moment of truth. Drum roll, please. You have it. I do have plans and a detailed bill of material. If someone's interested in trying to build this, it's not an easy project, I'll warn you, and it's not cheap. There's about 200 board foot of lumber. So I think about 80 board foot of that is secondary wood. I can't remember, there's something like 20 or 25 board foot of 8/4. The rest of it's 4/4, or I think there's some 6/4 in there too. The brass hardware was expensive, and maybe you can find another source, but I wanted as close to the original as I could get. So all in all, it cost me about $3,500 between the lumber and the hardware. The hardware was more than the lumber. So, but if somebody's interested, just send me an email. I'll put my email address in the description, so you can send it. We'll figure out. I got to figure out what it costs to copy them. If somebody's interested, we'll work it out. Thanks for watching. It's been a fun project, and if anybody has any ideas what to do next, pass it on. I'm open.